Happy New Year, my comic comrades. We hope you all had a safe and happy kickoff to 2024. Variant has a lot planned for this year, much of which will be really different, and we're stupid excited to fill you all in. So be on the lookout in the coming weeks for a few special videos from Tim and I to bring you up to speed on Variant's new projects and direction. And for those of you wondering why we still have our Christmas decorations up, well, that's because we like Christmas, you Scrooges, but also we shot this before the new year. So you're gonna be seeing this for like the next 3 or 4 episodes. Also, for our podcast crew out there, the show will be returning from its holiday break on January 15th with hot topics and guest Comic Tom. And if you're not following or subscribed to the podcast, now is the time to do that because the show is leveling up in 2024. You can find links to the podcast YouTube channel and all the podcast platforms right here. As for today, it's been a minute since we last talked about Black Panther, so for our first episode of the year, let's talk about what we think are his 10 best comics of all time. This was extremely difficult to narrow down considering Black Panther has had so many great comics over the years, but we've made our choices, so if you've ever wanted to start reading some of the best Black Panther stories of all time, this list is just for you. Now let's dive in with number 10. First up, we have King in Black, Black Panther one-shot. Simply put, this is one of the best modern Black Panther stories that demonstrates what Black Panther and Wakanda are all about. Essentially what's going down, Null, the symbiote god at this point, has pretty much taken over all of Earth, covering it in darkness with its symbiotes. At least he's trying to take over all of Earth, but Wakanda is the last country he needs to do so. So the story is about Black Panther and Wakanda fighting against a literal god of darkness who has massive symbiote dragons attacking Wakanda. It's a story that shows just how powerful Black Panther and Wakanda as a nation is, as they're the most advanced civilization in the world and use all of their great tech to fight Null. To be clear, Black Panther and Wakanda are by no means having an easy time holding off Null from taking over their nation. Heck, Shuri even gets possessed by Null at one point, but in the end, Black Panther and Wakanda are able to prevent Null from taking over their land with the strength of their god Bast. And of course, their advanced tech and use of alchemy, with Wakanda literally being the only place on the planet not being consumed by Null and his darkness. Again, it's an easy must-read book that demonstrates what Black Panther and Wakanda are all about. Here we have Jungle Action issues 19 through 22. Simply put, this is Black Panther up against the Klan. That's right, the racist jackasses who wear pillowcases on their head. This is one of those stories I feel is great because it's important. Black Panther, one of the greatest heroes in comics, against something that's way harder to beat than just an incredibly powerful character: racism and intolerance for anything that is different. I mean, the imagery alone of issue 21 is crazy. We literally see the Klan has tied Black Panther to a cross, which they are about to set on fire. Now, I do want to mention this is a twofer of sorts, because this is actually part of the greater Killmongers Rage storyline, which ran from issue 6 to 24 of Jungle Action. Overall, this is one of the most praised Black Panther runs in the character's history, as it contains the Klan story that confronts prejudice, as well as it being the storyline where Black Panther kills Killmonger. What I'm saying is, it has many great moments. Panther's Rage and Black Panther vs. the Klan deal with very mature storytelling, complex characters, and the exploration of social and political themes. So here you have this amazing black hero who's putting his life on the line every day, making the world better, but he still has to deal with stuff like racism. It's a very well done story, but more so than that, it's an important story for the character and everyone in general. At number 8, we have Black Panther Enemy of the State, which took place in Black Panther Volume 3, issues 6 through 12. Now, the Enemy of the State storyline is great and important for several reasons. It talks about Black Panther's origin and history with the Avengers while he simultaneously has to deal with a coup in Wakanda. The story really helped give the Black Panther comic scope, but his interaction with the Avengers is one of my favorite things about it, which starts in issue 8. We even get flashbacks of his early days with the Avengers once issue 9 rolls around. And the story really starts taking off with action, espionage, and awesome team-ups by the end of the issue. At one point, Black Panther says to the Avengers, "Factions of your government have committed an act of war against my throne. I cannot prove it, and so I must not ask for your help. Things will get worse before they get any better. To live, to die, to rule again, the Panther must walk alone." Like a true king, he's taking business into his own hands, which obviously sets up for even more craziness and makes this a must-read. Right after this storyline in the same title, Black Panther Volume 3, we would get Killmongers Rage from issues 16 through 20. This is such a great storyline because Killmonger is obviously one of Black Panther's most notorious villains. You see, in the story arc Killmongers Rage, he's come back to fight Black Panther 25 years after he first killed him in the Panther's Rage storyline, which we had on this list as part of the Black Panther vs. the Klan story. Now, not only was Killmonger resurrected decades later in this story, he was also reinvented a bit. I'm a huge Michael B. Jordan fan, and I thought he did a great job portraying Killmonger, but the the Killmonger in the comics, specifically this version of him, was massive. We're talking about Shaq size, a real force of nature, and he was most certainly out for blood and revenge on Black Panther. And to put the icing on the cake, at the end of issue 20 in their final confrontation, Killmonger wins, killing the Black Panther, with him becoming the new Black Panther in issue 21. Yeah, that's right, homeboy came back from the dead, defeated Black Panther, becoming the new one. This Killmonger story is so good, it's arguably more important than his first appearance. Next, we have Black Panther issues 14 through 18 in the Bride of the Panther or Marriage arc from the 2005 Black Panther series. You see, this is the story arc in which Black Panther proposes to Storm, which we see on the very last page of the issue, with the king down on one knee asking Storm to marry him. This would continue to play out in issue 15 with Storm saying, "Say it again." Panther asks Storm, "Will you marry me?" He looks at her with her saying, "I heard you the first time. I just wanted to hear you say it again." He then asks, "Am I supposed to wait here until my arm falls off?" But before she could answer, they have to attend a problem a few miles away. By the end of the issue with the threat contained, she says yes, and then in issue 18 of the series is their big wedding day, which was a huge moment in Marvel Comics history in general, not just Black Panther's history. We see several of Marvel's heroes like most of the Avengers, the Watcher, even Juggernaut attend the wedding, with the issue ending with them consummating their marriage. This is certainly one of the most significant marriages in all of Marvel history, up there with Peter Parker and Mary Jane, and obviously Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm. Here we have the amazing Doom War story. This is easily one of my favorite Black Panther stories of all time, and it's certainly one of the most iconic. You see, the story deals with T'Challa, Black Panther, and the royal family being overthrown via a revolution that began in Wakanda. As the story goes on, we find out this all happened via Dr. Doom, who is pulling the strings behind the scenes as he just wants to get his hands on vibranium. Because merging vibranium with his use of the mystic arts, he would be able to take over the world. Obviously, T'Challa can't let this happen, but what's also very interesting is that during this time, his sister Shuri was the Black Panther, becoming so in the previous Dark Reign storyline. So we get to see T'Challa fight alongside his sister, the current Black Panther, defending his nation and family. While one of the best villains Marvel has is trying to take over Wakanda's vibranium to be the most powerful being on the planet. It's a fantastic story. If you haven't read it, check it out. We actually did a whole video breaking it down right here. Here we have the Client storyline, which took place in the 1998 Black Panther series, issues 1 through 5. Like pretty much most of the Black Panther stories on this list, it was done by Christopher J. Priest, who is clearly the most prolific modern Black Panther writer. In any case, the story deals with Black Panther coming to America with Everett Ross. The two were working together to find out who was trying to kill T'Challa. This leads them back to Wakanda. What makes this book so interesting is kind of what has some people split on it, and that's the fact that the story is told through the eyes of Everett Ross. Which for me, I think it makes it more interesting to see someone else's outside perspective of Black Panther, especially someone who's working closely with him, as self-titled stories are usually told through the eyes of the title character. Either way, this is the book that also gave us a really cool look for Black Panther with that collared cape and golden accent on his neck and claws. It's just classic. I mean, issue 1 has literally become an iconic cover, and this is part of the epic Marvel Knights era for Marvel. Next up, we have Black Panther Volume 4, issues 39 and 41, written by Jason Aaron. Now, this is part of the Secret Invasion event. You see, in this 3-issue story, we get to see Black Panther and Storm fight off a Skrull invasion in Wakanda. One of the reasons this is so high on the list is because it's the perfect mixture of great storytelling and all-out action as we see Wakanda going to war 300 style against Skrulls, and it's just fantastic to see. Black Panther going up against a massive Hulk-like Skrull and taking him down is just great, as we see in issue 40. But then ultimately, by the end of issue 40, Black Panther and Storm are captured by the Skrulls, and all comes to a head in issue 41. It's a simple 3-issue read that is one of the most fun, action-packed Black Panther Wakanda stories we've gotten. Plus, if you want to see him fighting alongside his Queen Storm, this is it, because she's another badass. Put it this way, the story ends with a pile of dead Skrull bodies and a Skrull ship with writing in blood on the wall of it that says, "This is what happens when you invade Wakanda." Need I say more? Next, we have the 2015 Secret Wars. Now, I ain't gonna lie, this story is so high on the list because it's one of the most badass moments in Black Panther's history. You see, in the 2015 Secret War storyline, Dr. Doom becomes God Emperor Doom, taking the power of not a Beyonder, but Beyonders. You know, omnipotent beings. Yeah, Doom was one of the most powerful beings in all of the Marvel Universe in this form. Again, he took the power of the Beyonders. He was a god. But enter Black Panther in issue 8 of this series, where he freaking gains control control of the Infinity Gauntlet, at which point he starts going toe-to-toe with God Emperor Doom. Now, he didn't necessarily defeat God Doom, even with the Infinity Gauntlet, but he was able to distract him long enough so Mr. Fantastic could do his thing and stop his arch nemesis. In the end, Black Panther was able to use the Infinity Gauntlet to reset the multiverse that Dr. Doom had destroyed. Yeah, this is a top 3 moment in Black Panther's history for sure. And last but certainly not least, we have Fantastic Four issue 50, the first appearance of Black Panther. This is one of the best debuts of a character. You see, the issue starts off with Fantastic Four receiving a mysterious invitation to visit the African nation of Wakanda. Once they get there, they are confronted by Black Panther, who challenges them in order to test their abilities. And dude systematically takes each one of them out. But towards the end, they all rally together as a team and are like, hey, we're the Fantastic Four. We don't make a habit of losing. The Black Panther is impressed and reveals to them he is the king of Wakanda. We find out in the next issue that Black Panther brought them there to test his abilities as he was looking for allies for external threats to Wakanda. Threats that would try to steal his resources. The Fantastic Four and Black Panther would develop a mutual respect for each other and will go on to help each other in the future. Needless to say, this was an iconic first outing for Black Panther, and to us is his #1 most memorable. But with that said, friends, these are what we think are the 10 best Black Panther stories of all time. There is a ton more, so let us know what your list would be, as these sort of things are always subjective. Other than that, we'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.